Build is targeted to developers, which, by the way, Microsoft now calls creators. Threw me a little bit because when I think of creators, I think video, audio, and things like that. But for Microsoft speak, it is now creators. And you would expect with Microsoft having, I'm going to have to say it, the broadest developer tools and platforms out there, they obviously have a lot to talk about. But two things I wanted to go into. So first off, let's talk Power. We saw the Power platform with a lot of very big announcements. And I want to focus in on one, which is, so first of all, Power is the low-code, no-code platform for Microsoft. If you want to go a lot of code, you go Visual Studio. And what they did is they added a real language capability to type in what you want to program. And based on OpenAI's GPT-3, it automatically splits out code below. It's pretty crazy. And the cool part is that not only that it works, but it's not proprietary, right? It's based on OpenAI. So if you get into it and you get hooked on it and you want to move off of Microsoft someday, you can do that. And you're not just learning it for Microsoft. You're learning this for multiple GPT-3 in environments. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is Power added what's called a process advisor. And this is a process mining capability. What it does is it identifies repetitive activities that take the most time across any organization, and then it actually recommends what to automate and showing the organization and where a bottleneck exists. I mean, this is super cool, but I think macro, it just shows Power platform using AI in ways that you might not have understood or maybe not appreciated. And then I think on the Azure side, for me, the big thing that stuck out was Azure adding a lot more AI end-to-end tools out there. That was one. And essentially showing developers how to make SaaS apps leveraging Microsoft Azure. And whether it's using the Azure Communication Services or other types of AI services, it allows you to build your own SaaS apps using their PaaS services. There were a ton of announcements, Daniel, but I want to leave. I mean, there's so much oxygen left in this room. I do want to add one more Windows on ARM developer kit, essentially letting a 64-bit ARM device, in addition to a traditional or Intel AMD system, is a expensive proposition if you ran into issues there. And Microsoft teamed up with Qualcomm and created this dev kit. It looks like an Apple TV, which is cool. A little mini PC for people to build those applications. So whether it's low code, whether it's no code, whether it's a lot of code, Microsoft really showed developers the way here. Impressive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Satya Nadella kicked it off with a pre-recorded keynote. I always appreciate the utilization of technology in the world of remote content. Although I am excited to get back to live, it was always good to see him on the stage, talking to us, telling us things for the first time. Pat, you did cover a lot of ground. I think the oxygen joke is like a theme on this show. You and I just have this propensity to going down the well and then not coming back out until there's no water left. But in all seriousness, I really thought a couple things caught my attention. You mentioned a few of them. The Dataverse and Synapse Link integration, really bringing low code to vast data for integration, warehousing, real-time analytics, and basically making the, you mentioned the term, Pat, about creators. Well, I think what we're really saying is, there was a time when you used to be a broadcast production, specialist, and you knew how to wield a camera. And now creators are everybody with a phone. And I think they're kind of following that same path with developers. There was a time when everyone was pro code. You had to be pro code. You had to know how to code something. And now anybody that basically has a PC can be a programmer. So you are now a creator of applications. The other part that I saw Microsoft really lean into was the teams and the developer ecosystem for teams. There's one more. There's a broader Azure story. I'm going to write an op-ed about it. I'm not going to tease that here. I'll write the op-ed, and then you'll have to go read it. So, but they added a few great features on Teams: shared staged integration, extensibility of the together mode, and some improvements for developers and developer collaboration. So, excuse me. So the shared stage basically allows developers to create collaborative experiences such as whiteboards, project boards, and put them within the meeting. I think that's important considering where we're going with hybrid work. We all heard about together mode. Look, we're sick of this type of video setup. No offense, I'm sure you all love looking at Pat and I. But imagine if you could put Pat and I somewhere cooler, not just a cool background, but you really started to create that immersive experience. We're really bridging AR and collaboration now. Giving developers more flexibility to create common environments. What about creating a backdrop that makes you look like you're in the other half of the same room as the physical workers that you are going to be collaborating with in a hybrid work environment? And then finally, some updates to the toolkit for Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code to basically allow developers to use less code, which, by the way, is thematic at Teams, across Microsoft, across Build. Nadella mentioned 100 updates for developers at the event, and 100 may not seem like a lot, but the theme, as I see it, is less code, low code, and no code, so that you can spend your pro code resources doing those most important and most complex things.
Yeah, well said, Daniel. And you add that to the Power, GitHub, and Azure, and I have to agree. And as an analyst, you need to be very careful in your definitive phrases, but I do believe that Microsoft has the most comprehensive developer tools and cloud out there for developers right now. So with that said, good job, Microsoft. It was really good event. Learned a ton.